One of the funniest things I can remember was Johnny Damon in center field hitting the wall by the bullpen, and you going out there and taping that image like a police, like CSI.
You weren't supposed to catch that on
no,
camera.
No, I thought I didn't catch it on camera, but I saw it in my mind. I said that was really pretty damn clever.
Yeah, it was. It took a while. That's
I mean, you got to think of those. Okay,
uneven surface.
You know the body's in the ground. Guys
yeah.
put tape around there, uneven surface. Damon goes again, and you put the.
Oh yeah.
I wish I could show it, but it was very cool.
You got
You're
to
a
be
sick
creative.
guy.
You got to be creative.
No, totally. I loved it. That was just one of those. Okay, it was one of those.
Yeah.
Great moments.
Kind of sick moments.
It was.
It's all right.
No, it's perfectly. You're a reliever. What else are you gonna do?
That's right. You got I'm bound up. Got to have some time.
Andrew Miller, you've done that. It's a different world now.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Francona's got that. They're in a World Series. You're not going to do that during the regular season.
Right.
What do you think about that whole process? About how that? It's like, why not? Why did anybody not think of that before? Or just tell me what I'm missing here.
Well, I don't think you're missing a whole lot. I mean, you just as a reliever, you sometimes you just got to let it out.
I mean, you're as durable as anybody.
I try to think of myself as just a everyday guy. Be out there every day, be ready to go. I mean, the starters they're out there every fifth day, but we're out there every day. And
It's different though. These guys,
it's
starters 5 innings now. Come on,
sure,
right?
it's a different world, which is
Are these different human beings? Are these different people?
No. It's just it seems like everybody's a little more careful with
because of the
with
money?
your toys. Basically, yeah, because
they got money invested in that.
You got a lot of toys out there that are expensive, and you don't want to break them.
Really?
So that's how I see it.
Yeah, you're probably totally right on with that. But I go back into the last World Series. I mean, they almost pulled it off because of the unique style and he had the guy in the bullpen. So
right.
I guess if you had the guy, would anybody have noticed it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you have been that guy?
I would have hoped I would have been that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really would have.
Never would have got there though. When you played, right? It was never in that mindset.
It wouldn't have happened. No.
How's that possible? Man, how? Because it was like 1, 2, and 3 innings, and you guys were like.
The game evolves and it changes, and it's done so probably in less than the 10 years that you see.
I know. Was not that long ago.
It just does it moves really fast. I mean, if you look at some of the guys we're out here with at fantasy camp, the Butch Hobsons, Rick Wise, Frank Viola. I mean, especially Rick and Frank. Let's take those two guys just in a capsule. There's one era, Rick Wise. There's another era, Frank Viola, which I played with Frank and against Frank, so we're kind of in the same time. But those two guys, both of them starting pitchers, they were handled a little bit differently. I mean, you stuck Rick Wise out there, and you left him out there until the last out of the ninth, and he hit. Frank didn't hit, but you put Frank out there, and he's going to be out there for 7 or 8. Now you get into it, a couple of years later after that, starts setting off 6, 7 innings, and now it's down to 5, and now it's it's into the 100 and whatever pitch counts that is.
Amazing.
It is. I mean,
what's right and what's wrong? What would you, if you had a chance to blueprint it? Are we looking at the last thing we saw as the right thing, or?
If I, and I'm no genius, I'm no baseball genius. I won't claim to be, but. I watched, Roger Clemens, and we were on the same team, and I watched him across the diamond, and the guy would go out and he'd throw 125, 130 pitches, and he was big, he was strong, he would go do that. I watched Nolan Ryan throw, his 7th no-hitter against us in Arlington when I was with Toronto, and there was no way you were pulling him out of the game, even though he's already into the 115, 120 pitches. Things like that just didn't happen. We had Todd Stottlemyre. You could barely get the guy out of the game with a crowbar. He was so competitive, even though, he's at 110, 115 pitches. That there was no magic number. It was all played, and Grady Little was the last manager that I played like that. It was all played with your gut and what you see on the field. not what you see on
Customer's
the stats.
job.
Exactly. And it's not on
People
the stats.
people pay attention to that if
Right.
they're working for somebody
Absolutely.
and they want to keep their job.
Right.
No, it cost him his job, as you know.
Yes, I know. It did. But,
And-
I mean, they knew that going in. They knew that's how great he was, and everything was fine until we got to the end.
Well, like you said, there's perhaps no real answer, but it seems so strange to see the change and the caution. Like, you're right, 5 innings. I'd be embarrassed. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'd be thrilled to be a starter. But you know what I'm saying?
No, exactly what you're saying.
What would you do if you were a starter? You know, you'd want to. I can't see taking you out
It'd be
after
like,
7,
no,
8, 9. No way.
No way, Skip. I got this. I'm going to go one more. Because most of the time they'll walk out there and go, how you feel? How do you feel? And there's no athlete worth his salt that's ever going to go, you know what? I think I'm tired and
But
done.
you got a general manager now. It's really kind of pulling the strings. Say, look, I got a contract in this guy, and this is the number of pitches he's going to go.
It's true. It's true. But I mean, if you're, will perform the way they're handled. If you teach a guy, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, and this is a totally basic analogy. If you take a dog and you walk out there and you hit that dog with that stick every day, after a week, that dog is not going to come near you because you have that stick. You take a dog and you walk out there and you pet him every day, what's he going to do? He's going to curl up at your feet. Which dog would you rather have? Guarding your house. The one at your feet or the one?
Guard my house.
Exactly. That's your house.
I want a Timlin out there.
I mean, at one point, you know, I had Bill Momboquette as a pitching coach. And
God bless him.
yeah,
I mean,
fantastic
okay.
human. Loved the guy.
A great guy.
Taught me a world about this game and myself, because he asks you to go out and go as hard as you can.
It was tough. It was
and don't give in. You don't give in.
Yeah, but those days, Mike, who's around now that would do that? Are there any? I was going to even ask you, who's in terms of managers, who was the best one you had handling a pitcher? Who would you want handling you? Is there anybody around there that can step up and look you in the eye and says, "You're done," or "I need
John
you"?
Farrell could do it. And the respect that John Farrell carries is because he's been on the mound. He's had his cleats in the dirt. Same guy. He's been on the,
Right.
That guy in any athlete, if he's been on the court, if he's been on the football field, if he's been on, whatever field you're playing on, and he's coaching you,
Yeah.
there's an automatic respect because he's already played the game. He's been in your shoes. He's given up the 0-2 home run. He's given up the double down the line. He knows how you feel. He's seen his own performance when you're tired and the ball's getting up and everybody's, whacking you all over the yard. You have to respect his
Makes a lot of sense.
opinion.
Yeah, I think people overlook that in a big way, but not players. I think
Yeah, the players
no.
are still in touch with that.
Yeah.
I don't think everyone outside
Well,
that
how would
little
they know?
angle.
It's like a fraternity. You guys
Yes,
know
you're right.
inside stuff. That's,
Sure. Yeah,
And you feel it, and
you can.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean,
you
I
can.
think that's the magic. If only Grady had done, not Grady, but if it just had worked out differently.
Well, it's funny because, God has a plan, in everybody's life, right?
I know.
So if Grady pulls out Pedro and we go and we win in 2003, do we win in 07? Do they win in 13? You don't know.
You don't know.
But maybe it was planned out that, that team goes through the adversity so it's as good as it was the next year, and the next year, and the next year.
Aaron Boone got a career out of it.
Right. Maybe you needed a job after baseball.
maybe-
You needed to get on TV.
Who knows? No,
That's right.
but you're right. Things have a way of really working out.
Absolutely.
And look at we talk about the Cubs and all, My theory is that the Red Sox, everything changed when they won in 2004. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's the same for the Cubs. Cubs don't probably know it yet, but they're not the same Cubs.
No.
No, they're not the
Absolutely not.
lovable losers. This
No.
is a different. Everything's changed for them. They probably just don't know it yet.
No, they have no idea. Now, your organization now is not. It's not covered in. They're going to lose.
No,
they're
I know.
going to get to the
and
end.
the
of this.
fans kind of identified with that.
Right now, there's a confidence. There's going to be a swag. There's going to be however they carry themselves. When you go out and play the Cubs, now you have to worry about them. Beating your backside.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be good, and they're going to be good for a long time.
And they're going to be expected to be good in their home
Absolutely.
house. Right. It's a different world.
But if you
it's the same at
expect it-
Fenway. You know, it's
Right.
been different. You know, it's
Sure.
been different.
I mean, you now you're held to a higher standard.
Yeah.
But if you expect that out of yourself, and everybody else expects it out of you, your game steps up. If it's not expected, and if you're just like kind of handled with kid gloves, that's how you're going to play.
Was Grady? Well, I shouldn't say Grady because he managed with his gut. Would that be like you? Would you do the gut thing, or would?
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
mean-
would be way more of a feel. I mean, obviously there's some things that I don't see that other guys see, and that's why you have 5 coaches over there. Some guys are watching the outfield, some guys are watching the infield. You know, that's why you have so many eyes. That's why you have a bench coach that you can turn around and, you know, we had Tito for a long time. And did he not turn around? You've seen it on many, many games. Turn around to
Yeah,
Brad
I know, right.
and say, you know, they're talking about something that he sees that Tito doesn't see, and now they're comparing notes. And that's how you make an educated decision.
Well, it's much more scientific. It's, you know, metro, you know, sabermetric, whatever. You can go as far as you want down that road, but you still have to go out there and throw strikes and make decisions. And so who was the best manager that you really? I shouldn't. That's not a fair question. Well, I should say, who did you maybe enjoyed playing for more than anybody?
You know, I really enjoyed playing for Grady, and I
I
really,
can understand why.
Yeah, he was. You know, he was a player's manager. Tito was a player's manager. I felt comfortable enough. Of course, you know, at my time, you know, I had enough time in the big leagues that sometimes you're comfortable in your own skin, and I could walk into Tito's office anytime and just go walk in and talk to him. I could rag him, you know, whatever.
I believe that. I could see that. I mean, and I'm sure he appreciated that.
Absolutely, because you develop a relationship with someone where you're comfortable. You'll do anything in the world for him.
Plus his
Lou
whole
Piniella.
family, his fathers, you know, the whole.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Pinella.
Yeah, I had Lou Piniella in Seattle, and my first year when I was traded over there, I was scared of the guy. You know, obviously he's a Yankee legend. I'm scared of the guy. I'm like, holy crap, it's Lou Piniella. We're sitting in Scottsdale in spring training, and I'm pitching. I pitch my inning, you know, and I come in. It's hot, and I sit next to Lou on the top of the dugout bench, and he starts laughing, just giggling. I'm like, what are you laughing at? He goes, you're hitting third. I'm like, I haven't handled a bat in 15 years. Are you serious? He goes, yeah, go show me something. But he had fun at the game. And, you know, he took it serious. He wanted to win. But Lou was built, as soon as the last out was made, it's over. The next day is a whole brand new day. He's a brand new guy. He's not mad at you for dropping the fly ball in the 9th inning or what, nothing. It's let it go on, go to the next one. And I love that about him.
How can you not? It's a kid's game.
Yeah.
It's
a game.
First and foremost.
Boil it down, it's a game.
Yeah. Well, when you're on this side of the lines, you don't realize.
Yeah, sometimes you
No,
lose,
we
you
know
lose
that
sight
was
of it.
all about.
Yeah,
Right. We
you
know
lose
what
sight
that
of
was. Well, you guys had I thought, a terrific team back then. You know,
We did. We had
you
a fantastic crew.
Yeah, you
We
did
really
have
did.
great players, and bad things happen sometimes to good people.
True. That's true.
And listen, I know you've done a lot for ALS over the years, and I know everybody appreciates that. And I just want to say that, but I really appreciate a chance to talk to you about that because that's something that can't be forgotten.
Yeah, as a lot of people know, I lost my mom to ALS, and we still go out to Hopkinton every year and have our
Race.
Our race.
Yeah.
So we've been raising, you know, quite a bit of money, you know, for the Angel Fund. But you know,
Such an
it's
awful thing is.
Oh, it's awful. And I don't know if you know, one of the cameramen, John Martin with Nesson, was just recently diagnosed.
It's just you know what?
It's
like,
awful. You know, especially when someone you know, it happens, and it's like, man, you know, he's not old. He's young.
No.
You know, and it's
like
not
why, where, you know, and
why?
And not only does it totally impact the individual, but everybody else around
Absolutely.
that person,
Yeah.
caregiver.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to hang in there. It's just like, what a lesson in life. I mean,
Absolutely.
who needs that lesson? But
No one wants that lesson.
No.
Some people need it, but no one wants it.
oh, thanks for everything.
Absolutely.
All right, Mike. Thanks
Not
for
a problem.
stopping by. Okay,
Good
buddy.
seeing you.
Mike Timlin, New England sports legend. Has there ever been a time when you haven't been asked the question, what was it like playing near your hometown?
Well, I mean, being a New England kid, growing up in Worcester, 40 miles away from Boston, you know, you dream of playing for the Boston Red Sox. What was it like? I actually was very sheltered in terms of getting a chance to play. It was like my wife didn't tell me I had messages. She said, just go play.
Really?
And so it was actually great playing there. It was wonderful playing there, and certainly a dream come true for a New England kid.
Pudge Rodriguez, a Hall of Famer?
It's, you know, it's pretty special when you get guys who, you know, get a chance to make it to the Hall of Fame. I think anybody who played thought that maybe that someday they might get there. But he had a wonderful career, and certainly, you know, he's voted in. It's deserving, and there's always people, the pros and cons. But he was not only a good player, he was a great player. He changed the catching position, and
You think?
yeah, you know, I mean, just he modernized it a little bit. He was very, very talented. He could throw, he could hit, you know, and hit for average, and certainly was a good teammate. So, you know, I wish him well. I don't begrudge anybody who gets there. They really had to do a lot of nice things and certainly impact a lot of different people. It wasn't just what he did behind the plate; it's probably what he did for his pitchers as well. So,
Interesting.
so
I
it's
think
good
that's
stuff.
one thing that people forget about catchers, of how important they are to their pitchers. Seems like today even more so.
Well, there's so many numbers here and there. I mean, we look at David Ross, even what he did, just his leadership, being with the Cubs. So it's a forgotten position. It's like when you don't notice the catcher, you're sitting there. Those are the times you sit there and go, he must be a pretty good player. You know, it's when you do notice him that you sit there and go, he's got some work ahead of him. He's got some work to do.
Well, you and Clemens had something really special. I mean, was it ever define that? Ever figure that out, or was it just that connection?
Oh, I think with anything, we're fairly young players in the organization. I got there a little before he did, and he was highly touted, highly talented, and I was fortunate enough to catch him. And so therefore you develop a bond between each other, and with that, when you catch a good pitcher, he's going to have some good games, and you develop some confidence in each other, and you have some good times together, and in this case, I get linked to it, which was great. You know, I mean, a pretty special guy, you know, pretty special talent, and especially early in his career with the things that he did in Boston, that people sit there and go, oh wow, I mean, every time you come to the ballpark, Roger Clemens pitching, something special could happen. I mean, I want to say...
You were there with something special. Some
Yeah,
special things happened.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, is there nothing better than coming to the ballpark and knowing you have a chance to win? Because this guy's going to win more than he's going to lose.
How about the memorable 20 strikeout? Or was it?
No, it was memorable, no question, because, I mean, let's face it.
Can you put yourself back into that emotional set and that going out there for the ninth inning or whatever?
Well, I guess one of the things you look at is you're sitting there, first and foremost, you're playing the game to win.
Of course.
And we have the early days of the K-men, and you're sitting there and you know that he's got a few and he's having a pretty good night. But the neat part about it was the score was 1-0 going into the seventh inning, so it wasn't like you were caught up in the moment of what Roger was doing. You were into the game so much that you really weren't sure what was being accomplished. If you look out to the right center field or right field stands and see all the Ks, you couldn't count them all anyways because they started to run together. So until the ninth inning, where I think maybe Al Nipper said something to Roger, says, like, you're 2 strikeouts away from the record. You know?
Something like Nipper, you should keep your mouth shut, right?
But Nip is Nip, you know, and that's okay. They were best buds, and he was just giving them a little incentive. And the neat part is, like I said, in the seventh, it was 1-0. Gorman Thomas hit a home run. Dewey came up in the seventh and hit a 3-run homer to put us up 3-1. And with the way Roger was pitching, once he had enough runs, he wasn't going to give up any more. And the strikeouts were just a byproduct of the game. He had wonderful control, and he obviously he mixed up his pitches, but he threw a lot of unhittables. And it's one of the few times, of the few experiences that you have where someone's so dominating that it feels like you're playing catch. And that is no disrespect to the Seattle Mariners, because they had some wonderful players. But it just goes to show how special Roger was. And probably the most impressive thing of all, he threw a lot of pitches, but he didn't walk anybody. And you know, obviously later on in history, he does it again, and he didn't walk anybody. So he had impeccable control, and so you're not surprised that he didn't do that.
Conversations with the umpire that night about any of that stuff, or any little things go back and forth that you can remember, or even?
I mean, I think there was, you know, maybe one call that he might have got a benefit, but when you're establishing the zone and you're pounding the strike zone, it's easy to just get in the habit of putting up that right hand saying strike, strike, strike. I mean, it wasn't like the zone was really overly big. He was overly efficient. He was just pounding the strike zone, and so special evening. But it wasn't. The one nice thing that happened was it was Don Bailey was playing first. He didn't play first that much, and there was a pop up over by the dugout, and he dropped the ball.
Oh, yeah, right.
And I want to say he ends up striking out that guy, and you sit there and go, well, maybe it wouldn't have happened. And then you sit there and go, geez, how amazing is that? That where Roger was able to pick you up. He's able to, hey, don't worry, I got you covered. And you know, he ends up striking out the side, I think, in that inning, and to get another one. So, and if he didn't get that, it would maybe only been 19.
Now your career, after you're done, you worked in Worcester, you worked with the Tornadoes, you got back into baseball, or doing the things that you loved, and now you're with the Red Sox and their organization. And what's ahead for you, or is it one day at a time?
I still.
You love doing what you're doing.
Yeah. I live a baseball life. I'm not sure I'm acclimated or capable of doing anything else outside of being around the ballpark or in sports somehow.
That's not enough?
No, it is enough. But you know what I mean? It's like some people have limited vocation, you know, and I feel very fortunate that, one, I got a chance to do some things with North Shore, and I coached a few years in Worcester, and certainly the Red Sox give me an opportunity to get back in affiliated baseball, and certainly being in the Red Sox organization where wherever you go, you continually move closer to home. You know, you have Portland, you have Pawtucket, and ultimately, hopefully, you have a chance to be in Boston. But it's just being around the game. Let's face it, the game it keeps you young, and it keeps your mind going, and it's fun to be around. And there's not too many times you can sit there, you have valuable experience that you could pass along to someone else that it might not make it easier, but at least they'll have somebody around them that understands what they're going through and what they're shooting for.
You know, you mentioned Ross and the Cubs and the catching. I'm not saying that catching seems to have become more important, but in some ways it's become more noticeable. I mean, you take a look at the Red Sox roster, and Swihart and all the guys that thought that he was going to be, you know, going right to Cooperstown, and then things change. Things change dramatically, and other guys come along. And I don't know what makes the difference.
Well, one of the things is staying healthy, and sometimes you have young people, injuries play a role, and it just goes to show you that the high level that you have to play at. You may be able to get away with some things in the minor leagues where you're an athlete, you're physically capable of doing some things, and then you get exposed and you have to make some improvements. I don't think that he can't catch. I think he's a very good catcher. I think he's a very good player, and he certainly can help a big league club. But you get injured, and it's like you don't get a chance to perform, and so now you feel like sometimes, well, I was the guy, and you're not the guy because you think you're the guy. You're the guy because you perform well day in and day out. So it's a constant battle. There's big time competition out here, and sometimes the hot guy is the guy who gets it. Sometimes it's the guy that you got to stay with because you have no choice because you don't have anything else. I think the Red Sox are very fortunate in that they have a Vasquez, they have a Leon, they have a Swihart. And it takes time for those guys to become veteran catchers, leaders on the field. There's still, some of them are finding their way. Some are more mature than others. But the only way that rookies become veterans is opportunity. And it's hard to, this whole league doesn't have all veteran catchers. You got to start somewhere. You got to learn somewhere. You're going to make mistakes somewhere. That's what usually young guys do until they get established, and the years of playing, the confidence they have that they've built up over time, the confidence that the pitchers have developed with them, it comes through time. It's not just given, it's earned. And so that's one of the things that you have to be leery of with young players. They play well, and then it's time. It's not a given thing. You don't get it just to get it. You still have to maintain a high level of playing ability, and you got to keep on improving. And you're going to earn your keep. You're going to find your way. You're going to earn your way. And when you do, now what happens is you've been through the wars, the battles. And I know I'm giving baseball a soldier terminology, but it's just a mentality that you have to have that. I need to prove myself day in and day out and continue to improve, if not physically, mentally, and learn that my job is not about me. It's about the guy there on the mound, and anything that I do offensively is a bonus.
Well, that brings up another question about skill set and how you would, as former major league catcher and somebody that really looks at these young guys, skill set. Is it arm? Is it ability to hold runners on or have a chance to throw runners out, which of course, speed's become a very important part of the game. Singles turn into doubles. You know what I'm talking about. The
Sure.
arm seems to be more important. Is it ability to handle the pitchers? Is it ability to catch balls in the dirt? Is it hitting? All those skill sets, but rank them. Can you?
Well, I think sometimes it depends on your team. Where we used to sit there and go, okay, the third baseman is a power guy, the first baseman is a power guy. Your corner outfield is a power guy.
So you can give something
And
up.
so, yeah, but if you don't have that, maybe your dynamic of your team is
Yeah,
different.
got it.
That you might ask more out of a catching
That's
position
it, yeah.
guy. Sometimes you sit there and say, well, if I get a catcher who can hit 20 home runs, then I don't really care what his batting average is, as long as he takes care. I initially, when you first started saying that, I thought you were going to talk about the running game. Where you going? Is it?
Well, I kind of went.
No,
I kind of was, but
But I'm sitting there thinking about it, and you're going, okay, in the running game, where is it really important? It's like it's a combination of all those guys doing their job. When we look at people not throwing out runners, the first thing they say is, well, here's what the catcher is. But anybody who sees what's going on, you sit there and go, okay, if the pitcher does a good job,
yeah.
if the catcher's got a good arm, if the middle infielder makes a play, if the umpire gets it right. There's a lot of things have to go right to throw someone out stealing a base. And the first thing is the hitter can't hit the ball. So to be successful, is it picking a ball? Is it catching a high ball? Is it anticipating he might be going? Is it looking for getting that pitch in an area where if he goes here, I got a chance? But it all starts with the pitcher changing his motions, changing his times to the plate, just keeping the runner at first off balance. He doesn't have to be too quick. He doesn't have to be, as long as he's not really slow. And being aware who's out there. Just kind of changing up your times to the plate. Give him different looks. Give him a different feel. And the good ones, there's not much you can do, so you don't want him to get too distracted by it where it gets you in trouble. So the level of importance. We don't talk much about game calling.
Right.
It's like that. Some of
No one talks.
Some
really.
of that is the guy who's out there on the mound, the weapons he has, and how you're going to use them. There are so many different dynamics that come in. Ability is one too. You have guys out there on the mound. You have a very good staff. You sit there and go, again, the more you're around them, the more you get to know them. Who's leading who? I think back to the young catcher. I'm a young catcher in the big leagues. You think I'm going to tell Dennis Eckersley what to do? You think I'm going to tell Mike Torres what to do? Tom Bergmeyer?
How about
Steve
throw
Renko?
inside?
Throw inside? You have to throw inside. Some people are more forceful in throwing inside than others. Some people feel it's right. There's some guys throw inside, you don't think anything of it, right? He's just doing it. And then there's other guys who throw inside, you're going, he did it on purpose.
Yeah, but
He's
you're
trying
the
to hit
first. You're right there. You're the first line of defense.
Well,
The batter's gonna turn to you and say, "Why did you do that?"
Yeah, but I'm not worried about him. My teammate is on the mound.
I got it, but
Still, that's the way it is. This game at one time was, you tried to intimidate guys. You try to get them off their game. You try to make them uncomfortable at the plate. That's your job. Nobody's ever trying to hurt anybody, but you're still trying to win. And if you can throw a ball inside and make somebody uncomfortable and gets them out of their element, then you're going to do it. there are also some guys you throw it inside and you create a buzzsaw. So you got to be careful with the guys you can and cannot do it to. And then sometimes in the game it just calls for it. Whether it be just a change in a mindset, might be waking up a club. And you're not trying to hurt anybody. You're trying to have a reason to play. You're trying to pick your guys up, or you're trying to protect the guy on your team, saying, we're not going to let you do that. You're not going to be able to pitch inside, and we're not going to be able to. And then what happens is, in this big scheme, is we don't really want that going on, because we don't want anybody getting hurt, especially your stars. But it's inevitable. It's an emotional game, a lot more emotional than people think it is. And you're going, time, we're not robots out here. We're human beings. We have feelings, in a sense that, hey, we'll win, we'll try to win, we'll do whatever we have to do to win. And try to find where that edge is without going over, without trying to make a scene, without trying to get in a fight, if you fight, you're together. And you're going, that's how it is. Even if you don't win the fight, you're in it. You're in it to protect your guys. And that's the way sports is sometimes. It's not always pretty. It's not a gentleman's game.
I love talking to you here. We don't have a chance to hear baseball from Rich Gedman very much, but you opened up today like,
oh, gosh.
Man, you've been holding this back for 20 years.
No,
But you're working with these fantasy guys. What's that like? Here down in...
You know what's the beauty? These guys, they love the game. And I've watched guys, even their bodies change. I've watched older guys, bodies change. You know, they might have came here at 45 and, you know, they didn't have a reason to be in shape, and now they might have had a tough camp where I didn't get any hits, and now all of a sudden they took it upon themselves, well, I'm coming back next year and I'm going to do better. And they probably were athletes in their day. Maybe they played in high school, maybe they played in college, maybe they just love the Red Sox, they want to see the stadium. But it's funny, it's become a wonderful family. There's a solid nucleus of
140 people here, paid a big number to get here and be part of it.
And they really enjoy the game. We'd all like to win, but they enjoy the game. They're starting to understand the game. The wish if they could have understood it like that when they were playing it in high school and college, or even after that, where they're playing recreationally and going. I didn't understand the game this way. They see it a lot more clear, and they're a lot better guys together. Where team is a little more important, and even understanding. You know, you're sitting there going, you meet a guy that you've never seen before, and the guy next to you, he's a doctor, he's a lawyer, and you're going, this isn't his profession. He's doing it for the love of the game. There's something to be said for that.
So somebody picks up the phone and say, Geddy had a great career, you've done really well in the Red Sox organization, we want you to come manage our team. Goal, final, you know, do you even dare let yourself think about taking that phone call? Come on.
No,
I mean,
I think all of us in their minds have a goal. I really, I'm not reaching for anything. I kind of.
Could you do
I'm
it?
at the. I think anybody would like to try.
Okay.
The tough part for me would be the daily talking about the game.
To guys like.
Not the game,
right.
but just answering to why did you do this and why did you do that.
Well, welcome to the club. You know,
no,
I
I'm just saying.
know
So I'd sit there and going,
yeah.
I'd rather be talking to my guys. I'd rather be working with the guys. We have a goal. We have a goal in mind.
Got it.
You know, we're working together to get there. Let's understand our surroundings. Let's think about where we are. And there's a lot of pressure here.
It's a big distraction.
There's a lot of pressure here to win.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with that. My point is, you don't win just because you want to win. You know, you win because you develop an attitude that says we compete no matter what.
Well,
and the ability to do that,
if
and get a group of
guys. You're
guys
not going
that
to
buy
tell
into
me that
that.
you're going to answer the phone. I hope you get the call, and I hope you do answer it. And I hope that happens someday. And we'll be sitting down somewhere. I know you don't like to talk to the press, but talk to me.
No, it's
okay.
I'd be surprised. I'm a hitting coach in
I know.
the
Okay,
organization,
you'll be surprised.
and I love being around the guys. I love being around the game, and this part's hard for me.
Gee, I don't know. It doesn't seem very hard today, but I've enjoyed it.
Oh,
I'll
Bob,
let
it's
you
a
go
pleasure.
backwards.
Thank
This
you
has
so
been great
much.
for me.